Fun to see how Giants just keep being so inconsistent. I have no clue what to expect whenever Giants play.
I still think that Limp the Lost had his cheesy picks and they will win the game.
Idol of Durant for Werlib, and he picks off Betsy. How about that damage? And that's an ace for Giants Gaming.
They can be beaten, but they always come back, which is their biggest strength.
Fnatic have 4 kills, looking for the ace.
Always manage to find ways to come back in the game.
Teams like Gambit are like really important for us just because they're so close in standings.
Gambit are looking to be a real threat as we get closer to the end of the regular season.
We kind of want to win, obviously, but it will be also to further the gap.
Just the communication is the most important thing right now.
Continuing coverage of Week 8 of the European League Championship Series. There's excitement in the air here in Berlin, Germany, as we head closer and closer to the playoffs. As you can see, we have a packed house and the fans are ready to go. And for all the matchups we've got on the line here today, ready to get going are as well H2K. And there's probably talking to the crowd, answering some questions, or, you know, doing a rap battle. We'll never know. Yamato looking very businesslike as he leads his troops Roccat into the building, who are up first in our first game of the day versus Giants. As we see Lozark there talking to his troops as well. Pepinero does have his headphones on, so I don't know if he was listening.
That. You know, he's just going to pick his own thing anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm Eefje Sjokkesevoortere here to set the stage for the last 15 games of the summer split with James Stress O'Leary and the always vocal Martin the Fischio Lunge, always. Now, with just a week and a half left in the summer split, let's see how the teams stack up. Not a surprise, at the top of the tables, Fnatic is still reigning supreme in their undefeated run. And then to round out the top 3, or top 2, I should say, Origin and H2K in the fight for second. And of course, that all-important bye to the playoff semi-finals. And in classic European LCS fashion, we're coming to the end of the split with some very, very real tie possibilities. Of course, it's the European LCS.
Yeah, I mean, look at the middle of the standing here. Gambit, Unicorns, Love, and Giants. All 3 very close, tied for 4th place. We have to say, though, Gambit of those teams are looking the strongest at the moment. They play Unicorns later today, and as VODS said here in the opening intro, that game is so important for who gets the highest seed in the playoff.
And the playoffs aren't the only important ties that we may have on that 7th spot. Elements and Rockets, they're tied up right now, trying to figure out who's going to have the safe spot. You're not in relegations, but you're not in playoffs at the same time. However, SK, they're currently 2 wins behind the playoffs, and that means they can actually get themselves out of the promotion relegations with a fortunate set of events.
Well, yesterday you mentioned it, SK Gaming versus Unicorns of Love. Fantastic performance, and a lot of that on 5.13.
Yeah, it was honestly insane to watch SK, like 25 minutes, fastest game I believe we've had so far. We didn't see a whole lot of changes though in the new patch for them, and we heard Candy Panda talk about how they just wanted to play something simple, something they knew worked for them, and we saw classic SK Gaming style. We probably will see more changes here on 5.13. Just not on day 1. Day 2 now.
One thing we did see on day 1, though, was the introduction finally in Europe for the Riven matchup into Rumble, which we're kind of expecting to see a little bit more of now that Rumble has gone up in priority. But if anybody can pull out the Riven to the same level that Huni did, then we're in for a real treat.
It is a pick, though, we have seen in Korea, obviously, a few times as a counter pick into Rumble. Maybe Huni's been looking back and saying, okay, this is working. I can pick it up myself. He said he was looking for a counter. He found it.
Yeah, he did. It worked out perfectly for Huni, actually, exactly as we would have expected. And at Banani2K tweeted, holo, holo, Huni with a huge 3-man stun with Riven to clean up the team fight and take Baron. Here is your #1 LCS big play.
Golcoda and Nukeduck, the Mother Vander's not going to save the lives of Roccat again. Reckless has got a kill, a 3-man stun from the key strike. That's a huge team fight for Fnatic. Double kill for Huni.
Look at the fight here.
Oh!
3-man stun, beautiful play.
That was exceptional.
It was exceptional, and with each new big play, we seem to get an even bigger amount of excitement and a new sound out of it.
Yeah, new sound.
I just like to watch Fnatic when they play carries for Huni, so he can do stuff like that.
I like to listen to you guys when they do it. It's hilarious. Well, Fnatic, they did very well, and they locked in their playoff spot long ago, but the rest of the competition will have their chance to close in on a postseason spot today. We're going to start off the day with Giants versus Roccat. Then H2K will face the Copenhagen Wolves, and later today, Origin will take on SK Gaming, who are fighting to steer clear of the 2016 Spring Promotion Tournament. Honestly, after yesterday, both from the sides of OG and SK, they could do it.
Yes, I do feel, however, whenever our top teams tend to lose a game, they bounce back really, really effectively the day after, except for maybe H2K in the few 0-2 weeks they've had so far. But yes, SK look great. It's still not at the level, of the top 3 teams, so I think Origin will be the heavy favorites for it, but upsets can happen.
For sure.
I think certainly coming into the week, though, this is now a lot better at the end of day 1 for SK fans. They'll have a lot more reassurance that potentially there are a couple of wins that could be picked up for the next week.
We'll see what they can do, but before we get into our first game of the day, we want to get your thoughts. Tweet at LL Esports and tell us, what do you think has gotten stronger on patch 5.13 and why?
So first, I want to say Singed as a champion. We haven't seen him. I'm hoping to see him because I think the buff to scaling MR is super effective on him.
And the laugh buff.
Of course, that's the important one, obviously. But item-wise, what we saw yesterday, Rylai's was picked up a few times, mainly as a snowball item for Ryu on that Ahri. And it is a great item right now, and I think we're going to see more of it. But also teams need more time to adapt. I mean, it's a big patch, a lot of small changes coming in that people can use. Yeah,
time is going to be the key thing. We were talking actually to Seo on the Challenger Series broadcast on Tuesday. He plays for Maus in the mid lane. He was saying that there are this plethora of mid lane champions that are waiting to come through, but until teams have had time to play with the likes of a brand, we saw Zyra in Challenger. Before you've had time to practice this, we won't see it quite yet.
We'll see what happens, but as always, be sure to tweet at us. I thought you had something else to say. I don't know.
I mean,
you always have something to say.
I like Brand. I used to play a lot of Zyra, and I also think with the Leandris changes, not sure why that item got like 30 AP for 100 gold, but it's super, super strong now on these champions. Yes, I could see it being played. Maybe even looking at my match history, there could be a lot of Brand coming soon.
Maybe.
Watch out, Solo Q.
Watch out, Solo Q. We also want to know what you think. What has gotten stronger on patch 5.13? Tweet it at us. Use the hashtag LCS, and we're going to check in on your responses later today. For now, though, time to dial in on our first game here. It's between 2 squads with a lot at stake. Giants Gaming and Roccat are going up against each other. Starting off with Giants, yesterday they played H2K, and honestly, they completely fell apart.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen it before from Giants, how it can start in the pick and ban phase where we just have so many questions. I mean, either it's Pipinero picking a weird champion for himself in the mid lane, or now it's just as a team. They went for Ryze, Jace, and Jinx. 3 carries that cannot protect themselves against a comp from H2K with so much mobility and so many ways of engaging onto them, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, it was such a one-sided game because H2K managed to start to snowball, and poor little Adri in the bottom lane just died over and over.
You say poor Adri, but at the same time, right at the beginning of the game, they got a decent trade, but then disrespected the flash pulverize that came from the Alistar, and that resulted in one of the very early kills. And from there, it just seemed really poor. 0-5-0 at this point, and Ryu, again, just completely catching Adri.
Stone Cold killer, man. Find Adri every single time. Doesn't matter, he's not worth gold anymore. You just keep killing him over and over, and Giants were never in the game. And we have seen that before when they face the top teams. Except for the one Fnatic game, they tend to, if they fall behind, it goes very fast. And these top teams can really abuse that.
Now, on the other hand, Roccat, though, they have managed to pull out some wins versus the top teams. Not yesterday, though, versus Fnatic, because it was poor Steve once again. But how much of that is honestly to blame on him personally?
It's about 60-40, I would say, in Fnatic's favor on blame, because they had a strategy that worked perfectly. You can see they put Steve so far behind on the gold. Okay, they didn't get the 1v1, the Riven into Rumble, but Fnatic played it so well. They never let Steve get to the minion wave until it was shoved into his turret, and then in comes Forbidden with the Destiny, appears gold card, lock down Steve, take him out of the game.
It wasn't just Fnatic trying to shut down Steve. Roccat as well tried to shut down their own top laner. They didn't give him the gold. They moved them away from minion waves in the lane swap. So Huni was like 50 CS ahead. We're talking about 12 minutes or whatever. Steve just couldn't do anything. Like, as a player, it's impossible at that point. It was about the rest of the team. We saw Varus for Nuke Dog, a champion we thought were going to be banned more often against him. Still such a fantastic pick, and he showed a good performance. just not enough for the team to win because they fell so far behind from the lane swap and just Fnatic snowballing from there.
Macro level strategy falling behind is something we honestly have seen from almost every team versus Fnatic, and also yesterday. Looking at Roccat, though, it's so important for them to find wins here. Giants today, and then the Copenhagen Wolves Radar and OG up next. Honestly, on a good day, they could take all three of them.
I agree. They have beaten Origin before, a few weeks ago, obviously. I do feel this game against Giants is going to be like the big final for Rocket, where we get to see can they make it into the playoffs, because we expect them to beat the Copenhagen Wolves. And yes, okay, they've beaten Origin before, but that's at least going to be a very tough game. Giants right here, if they beat them, they should have a good chance of making playoffs, which is the goal for this team. They always talk about how they can become one of the best, just haven't shown it yet.
I'm going to go ahead, put myself out on the line. I'm going to say they're going to take 2 out of these 3 games.
Oh, we'll see. We'll hold you accountable for that.
Well, you can
write it
it's
down
on
right
film now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before we get to the caster desk for a look at the lineups, Warlip thinks there are 2 sides to Roccat, and you never know which one will show up on game day.
Yo creo que Roccat es un equipo muy irregular. A veces juegan tan bien que dices, esos no son Roccat. Muchas veces juegan tan pasivo que dejan al otro equipo hacer todo lo que ellos quieran. Entonces yo creo que depende de qué días te cojas, o te revienta o te pueden ganar.